How are you?
Doing good.
Well, hey, thanks for having us. It's great to see everyone. Happy New Year. Excited about Friday. Everyone's going to be there, Carnegie Friday.
Yeah. What's going on Friday?
Little shindig. I think most of us will be there. So, David Brown, Sierra Pacific Mortgage. I think everyone knows that. Sheridan Nichols is with me.
Hi, everybody. Do I
Sheridan
need to come close to
is,
you? Hello.
on our team, one of our seasoned loan officers, been with us for now, what, 3 years? Around
Yeah.
3 years or so. You may know her from TV.
Yeah, I used to be on WCYB prior to mortgages. So actually, I was just at a tire place and someone came in and was like, "Hi, Sheridan." And of course, I'd never seen them before. He's like, "I watch you on TV." So I actually every other week still do one little segment for Bristol, and I go up there every other Wednesday. It literally takes like 30 minutes, and so it's hard to kind of stop doing that a little bit. Plus, but I still need to get better at doing the video things for the mortgage stuff. So
Yeah.
anyway, but I think it's been a good tool to help me with mortgages because as we know, every single buyer is different and every story is different. And so that makes our jobs really interesting.
Yes, it's good. Yeah, Sheridan's a wonderful loan officer, does a great job, very responsive, very caring for her clients. Jessica Williams on our team too. Jessica processes for both me and Sheridan and helps run the show and makes sure that our files are moving down the tracks very quickly. And we're very fortunate to have her. She's the best. And then we brought the infamous Danny Santucci with us again as an appraisal authority to
You're way over the nest.
speak to.
I've already talked to him.
We're talking about putting like certain caution tape with his name on it near the alarm so he doesn't trigger it again. Danny's gonna have some words to share about some new things in appraisals, what he's seeing. Would love to hear any questions y'all have about appraisals and what you run into. And Danny's really our preferred on our. We go through an an appraisal management company. Danny has been our top person, and so if it's a conventional FHA, USDA, anything but a VA appraisal, Danny's probably going to do the order if it's inside the Northeast Tennessee.
Yeah.
If it's Virginia, it's not going to be.
No.
Yeah, or North Carolina. So, a couple things I wanted to touch on because I think they're new. I think they're exciting. You may not have heard a lot about them. Have y'all heard of the 1% conventional program?
Yes.
1% down.
No,
You had
more.
Alex? You've heard about it? Okay. So Freddie Mac has a program for first-time home buyers called Home Possible. That's traditionally a 3% down conventional program for first-time home buyers. Buyers can't make more, or the qualifying income can't exceed 80% of the area median income. For most counties in Northeast Tennessee, that's going to be around $62,400. I think Washington, Sullivan, it might vary a little bit, but it's low to mid 60s, I believe. The neat thing about that is we don't have to use all household income. It's only what we're qualifying them on. So if they have a spouse, if they have whoever with them that's buying the house, if we don't want to include their income, we don't have to. Whereas with USDA, maybe THDA, we have to consider all household income, and sometimes that throws it out of whack on qualifying. So I'm actually working with I think 2, maybe 3 right now on this program. Now you have to fit a certain box. It's so anyway, the 3% down is the down payment, but the lender provides a 2% down grant, and that's not. It's just a complete gift. So Sierra Pacific Mortgage would give 2% towards their down payment. No payback, no lien, no forgiveness period they have to get through. Just a gift. There's a max of $4,000. If you do the math, and there's a max purchase price, so $225, which doesn't sell like much these days, but for a first-time home buyer in our market, we're seeing some. I mean, they're out there. So we have one that came into contract yesterday, $224,000. I was like, yes. The 2% was going to be like $45,000 $4,480, I think, $4,480. So we had to back that down to $4,000 because that's the max on the grant. But essentially, this bar is getting into the house with 1% down and closing costs, and I think they're getting a little bit of their closing costs paid for. So, just a wonderful program. You know, I think you can see more and more things that the agencies are rolling out for home affordability. THDA is another great program. So we're excited about it. What are the 45? Is it 45% debt to income ratio? I think is the max on that. Anything else? 640 credit minimum, maybe. Yeah. So so I wanted to share that with you guys. And then if they don't, if they're over the AMI or the 80% AMI, there's still the 3% down conventional. So if they're a first-time home buyer, yeah. So it seems like we're just seeing a lot of those. And I know your sellers, right or wrong, will prefer a conventional offer over a Govy. So we're seeing a lot of that right now. Any questions about that? Any seller pays are going to be limited to 3% of the purchase price if they're putting less than 10% down. If they put at least 10% down, they can get 6% from the seller. The 1% dream, this program actually, they can't put more than 5% down. So if they want to put a little extra, more than 3, they can do that, and they get the 2% from us.
What's nice about the Home Possible and the Home Readier in this situation too is that, you know, the pricing on the interest rates. I know you all know about that. Sometimes we'll like have a par rate that comes out and it might be $100, but then you'll want to kind of buy down, especially if you're going to try and meet that ratio of 45%. So, you know, and that's just kind of the market, you know, we've all been living in here for a while now. So the neat thing about those is the pricing is so much more favorable. It's like so fun because you're like, oh, I can get you a 6 1/4 and it's only $1,000 or, you know, whatever. I mean, it's just a really great pricing too. So if we can get them in Home Possible and Ready or Home Ready, yeah, all day long.
Yeah, buyers are thrilled once you tell them, hey, average 30-year fix right now is edged up back up to about 6.8, 6.9, but we can get you 6.375 or 6.5. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
First time home buyer, conventional loan. So that's pretty exciting. Anything else on that?
No, but I was thinking about Danny Santucci here because he's great. He answers the phone, you know, and we often get questions. You know how that is. You get questions from, you know, all of you about, oh, will this house appraise? And I had one literally just 2 days ago. They're the list agent I knew, and so she went ahead and called me and was like, hey, I think I've got your buyers. You know, do you think this house will appraise? I said, well, let me just confirm it. And of course I called Danny. He answers immediately, which is amazing. And then it was funny because he actually used to own that house, so he knew a lot about it. So I was like, okay, this worked out perfect. So I'm like, hey, that's a go. We can totally go FHA on it. So yeah, just had to point that out, that it is great to have an awesome appraiser.
Yeah. Before we move on to Danny, I had another thing I wanted to make you guys aware of. I know we in our world hear from past clients all the time, hey, how can I tap all this equity I now have? I mean, there's a record amount of home equity in this country, and people who have a 3% mortgage don't want to mess with that, but they still want to access that equity for whatever reason they may need it, whether it's consolidating debt, home improvements, renovations, buying a yacht, whatever. Well, we've partnered with a home equity lender to offer a really unique program. I've never seen anything like it. I've been in banking and finance for 20 years now, and it's really, really cool what we're now seeing. And it's a program that's pretty much all digital as far as assets and income verification. Unfortunately, there's no appraisal needed. It's an automated valuation model thing, but from application to approval, it's a matter of hours.
Yeah, I think they said on the call you could have your money in 2 weeks or something. You know what I mean? It was very quick.
Yeah. But it's $25,000 to $400,000. It can go up to a third lien position. So if they already have an equity line, they could get another one. It's a single advance loan, so it's not like a line of credit, although as you pay that loan down, and you can do 5, 10, 15, 30 years, as you pay it down, you're freeing up available credit. You can go back and get more draws. But a very easy way to access that equity, we can help facilitate the process.
What type of, is it like, do they put a lien on the property or something?
Yeah, there will be a deed of trust on the property.
Are there closing costs or anything?
There are closing costs. They're rolled into the loan. There's a fee, and the borrower can actually choose, and they can see if they choose a lower origination fee, they get a little bit higher interest rate. If they choose a higher origination fee, they'll get a little bit lower rate. So they can kind of toggle between that and see. The rates we've seen is pretty competitive. I think in the primes at 8.5% still. These rates we're seeing are in the 8s, 9 range. I mean, so it sounds high, but relative to where rates are right now, it's really not that bad. So, I had a conversation with a client just yesterday. They need $40,000 to consolidate a bunch of debt that they incurred while the spouse was unemployed. A ton of equity in the home, and this would be a great opportunity to pay off some high interest debt. So any questions about that? Shoot me an email or text, and I can get some more information to you. Anything I'm missing on that? Okay. Danny, what do you have for us today?
Oh, I was just, hi, Danny.
Hey, come in here in the screen.
Come on in.
Yes,
Yeah.
get away from the back of the
No buttons, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, has everybody been here? I've been here twice. Has everybody been here when I'm here? Okay. So every time I come, I talk about how we measure, how we pull our comparables and stuff. So I thought I'd talk about something a little different today. FHA repairs. That's the only ground I get more phone calls about FHA than anything I do. So basically, the biggest things I see is chip and peel and paint. That's the biggest one. The thing about chip and peel and paint is, so they can fix it, and get it taken care of. But if there's paint chips on the ground, they say it can't be paint chips on the ground because they say it can contaminate the groundwater. So, don't kill the messenger. That's just what they tell us to do. So, one thing I would say is if they have to scrape and paint or whatever, make sure that all the paint chips are up because we have to report it if it's there. A lot of people think that, a porch automatically has to have a handrail. It's up. Now, it was 19 inches. If it's 19 inches, it had to have a handrail. Now it's up to the appraiser's discretion. If we deem it a safety concern, and now every appraiser is different. My thing is, I think you can fall off and break your leg. I'm probably going to call for a handrail.
So I'm curious, how does that differ? The FHA differ than what a VA appraiser might?
It's the same thing.
Same thing,
It's
okay.
pretty much the same criteria. There's a little bit of differences there. As far as I know, like I said, I'm not a VA appraiser, but in essence, it's pretty much the same inspection. The other thing is we have to look in the attic in these houses. And what we're looking for when we go in the attic, we're looking for insulation, and any evidence of any animals, and make sure that there's no wet spots on the roof. And that's it. If there's not an attic access, we don't have to go up in there. So used to, if there wasn't an access, they made them cut a hole, and we had to look. So that's how long I've been in the game, been doing this. So it was a whole other thing back in the day. In the bedrooms, the windows have to open and stay open, and just in the bedrooms in case there's a fire. Also, window size in the bedrooms has to be standard size, which I think is 23 or 26 inches. I have to look it up. I should have been better prepared for that. Sorry. Just so a person can fit through the window. I did a house that had a bedroom window this wide. It didn't mean. I'm trying to think what else.
What about windows that are cracked or broken, or if there's a portion of it broken out?
Well, so if it's broken out, so it's the 3 S's, and basically in every inspection we do is 3 S's: safe, sound, secure. Okay. So if there's something that will hurt the overall safety, security, or soundness of the home, we got to do it. So like if there's a broken window with a bunch of shards of glass, somebody can cut their hand, so, and also it can damage the home. A lot of times we're looking at houses and, like with the chipping and peeling paint, that's to seal the outside so no damage will come to the house. And also, before in the 70s that had lead paint in it, so, you don't want to like have weird problems. But anyway, the other thing is about the roof. So if we see the roof and we think there's less than 2 years life in that roof, we have to report that, and they'll actually make them fix it. So, I had a deal one time, a guy said, oh, it's got about a year left, well, I had to say it, and then they made him put a roof on it. I can't, once I know something, I can't unknow it, but,
What's
just
your
trying to-
lesson? Tell your people to shut up.
Less is more.
Just,
What,
yeah.
what are you looking for? Are you looking for missing shingles? Or are you looking for just signs of wearing down very thin, like water spots inside? Like what?
Yeah, so basically what we're looking at, like I said, well, that's one reason we go in the attic, because we can look on the inside of the roof and see if there's any water spots or anything like that. We're looking for insulation, evidence of infestation, or any kind of leak, hole, anything like that. So, once we look at the roof, if it's missing a bunch of shingles, and obviously that's gonna damage the home. So we have to say, hey, you need to fix this roof, or get a roofer to look at it, and tell us what we're looking at. That's, once we get into those kind of things, I refer to a professional, I'm not a roofer. The other thing is properties with wells, okay? So most properties that have wells or a private water source have a septic tank as well. So one of the things as an appraiser, this is the hardest part of my job. So we have to verify where the field lines are and where the water source is. And it has to be, I think it's 75 feet in between the two, so that the sewage lines don't contaminate the drinking source. So that's a very tricky, there's one guy that covers this area, he's in 2 days a week. You have to call him. You can call down to the health department, and if they don't have it, because they'll have record of the septic tank. And then, it's a handful. But,
And this one guy who's going to go out and measure, or he somehow can.
well, he's supposed to be the guy that knows where everything is. And he's multiple.
We have one guy in Johnson
He's an
City.
important guy.
And I can't remember the guy's name, but he covers multiple counties too.
So does he just like keep this secret to himself?
Well, I don't know.
See those powerful guy in
Like,
there?
I had one at Roan Mountain, and the guy was like, "I guess it's here." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll go with you, buddy. You're the guy." But I was trying to think what else.
What about criteria on heating and air sources for FHA?
Okay, so it's my understanding. This is
And
my.
Danny, will you repeat her question and talk loud?
Okay, so you asked about heating sources, okay? So, this is my understanding of FHA. Here is what it says. Basically, you have to have a primary heat source that is basically that's able to maintain a solid temperature without human intervention. So, so you can't have like a wood stove because you have to keep feeding it, okay?
Or carry like a gas heater or something like that. You have to keep-
A gas heater would work as long as it's regular.
What if it's like one of those forced air units where it's
Like a split?
no, not necessarily a split, but I've had one before. Like it was I want to say it was like a gas heating system, but it didn't have like ducts run to the whole house.
Mhm.
It was just like one duct that was pushing the air out throughout the entire one room of the home. But
Okay, that's a good question. So here's my understanding. So the house has to be able to maintain a 50-degree temperature in order, especially where there's water, so that the water lines don't freeze. Okay. Now, if the heating source is in the living room and you got a bunch of walls blocking it where it can't get back to it, then you're going to have a heat source near your water. Does that make sense?
yeah.
And it can't be a plug-in baseboard, or has to be wired into the house, has to be something that's non-regulated, doesn't require human intervention to maintain. Does that answer your question? But like the big things is mini splits now. A lot of flips to them, especially the older houses
Yep.
on slabs and stuff. So basically, as long as, and there's usually more than one of those units or whatever you wanna call them up there. So as long as it heats and cools the areas, it's water, you know, just the house has to be able to maintain a 50-degree temperature. So like I said, nothing freezes. So I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Whatever windows, whatever, you have the attic, the crawl space, there can't be any water in the crawl space. You can't have any evidence of infestation. Also now.
What if it's just like, you mean water as in sitting water or moisture in general?
Well, you're looking, there can't be, obviously, there's gonna be a little bit of moisture,
Yeah.
you know. A lot of them now have a vapor barrier, which is basically a piece of plastic. So what we're looking for is standing water or evidence of moisture damage. Also, again, rodents, varmints. They are coming back some if they require that the crawl space be free of debris. So a lot of people put, you know, their old windows or siding or, you know, I've had that caught out 3 times, not with David's company, but over my career. But the one was pretty bad. I mean, there was,
Thanks.
yeah, so, you know, it's, just trying to think, but like, basically, we're just looking to make sure the house is encapsulated where the weather can't affect it. And basically, if there's a fire, they can get out and make sure the roof's not leaking. And that's pretty much it. And if there's any safety issues is a big thing with FHA. So if there's anything that could cause harm or potential harm, I called for hand railings on a house last month. Had a side porch that was 4x4, but it was 6 feet in the air. You know, so there wasn't a lot of room you could move around. So, and I usually don't, you know, consider, but anything over 5 feet, it's like, yeah, that could really hurt somebody if you fall off, you know. So,
A porch that was 4 feet by 4 feet.
yeah, it's a little slab, you know, little side door.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was like over 6 feet in the air. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy.
What's FHA appraisals tend to cost a little bit more, right?
Yes.
Our borrowers are paying. What are we seeing?
600.
Around 600 now.
650.
Yeah, for an
Yeah.
FHA appraisal as opposed to a conventional, because of some extra requirements that you have to do. Right?
Yeah, and also we have to go out and take pictures of all the houses we compare it to too, so we have a lot more road time and
Yeah.
everything.
Or, so you don't do, that's not required, I guess, for other loans, just for the vision?
So it depends on the client. You know, some clients require no matter what.
Some lenders, you're saying some like
Yeah, some lenders
yeah.
require it, some don't. But, you know, here's my argument against that though. I mean, obviously you guys take pictures and they look amazing. Like when I sold my house, they showed me the realtor, it's like, whose house is that? You know, I was like, my kids are like destructive. And I'm like, yeah, they got the whole coverage. But, you know,
Digital.
yes, but I mean, honestly though, I mean, a lot of the outside pictures, they aren't really, I mean, you got the one, you know, dusk picture, then you go to the real picture next to it. To me, that's more representative of what the house looked like when it's sold versus, I mean, anything can happen between, you know, 3 or 4 months down the road. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I went out and took comp pictures and the house was tore down. I was like, well, get another comp, you know, it's gone, you know? So, I mean, but to me, that's just, it's more representative of what it actually was,
Yeah.
and that's what you're really looking at. Because we're matching quality, we're matching condition, square footage, and things like that. So, but yeah, FHA is a whole other animal, isn't it, David?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. We love doing it.
But we love
We
them.
love doing it.
Yeah. And one other thing on the water heaters, we have to check the pop-off valve to make sure it's okay, because they can explode and, you know, go through the roof. But other than that, that's pretty much it as far as FHA goes. Is there any random questions, any general questions?
You said random questions.
Yeah. I didn't mean
Nah,
that.
it's okay.
I corrected myself after that, sorry. So,
I don't have any.
How much is the re-inspection fee? What would we call
125 usually.
These are a little bit of an interesting subject because what Danny gets isn't always what the client pays.
yeah.
Because the AMC takes their cut, so.
Yeah,
Um,
so the way it works.
Directly at the house.
No, so, no, everything has to be.
So we're good, huh?
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, so the AMC has to order it, so they wanna make money on it as well. you
And
know?
that has to be in person.
Yes, most of the time. There's some
It's
things
still
that,
recorded.
you know, yeah, turn it off. No, but, yeah, most of the time, yes. I mean, if it's like, you know, like if they require a foundation inspection, make it 72, I don't have to go back out. All I have to do is get the foundation inspection and then put a report and I can do it as is.
Okay.
You know, cause I would know how to,
Yeah,
I mean, I know what to look for, but I'm not a foundation
yeah.
certified guy.
So if there's like the chip paint or whatever, then you show
Yeah,
up
we
to
have to, yeah.
pictures.
I think what we're seeing on a final, like I say, it's a new build, and they're buying a new construction home. We had one go out.
150.
150 for, actually, yeah, 150s with the client paid.
Okay.
AMC probably keeps what they do that or something.
And some of them are more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, some AMCs they get paid as much as I do for the report. So, you know, it is what it is, you know?
And the seller can pay that too, like if it's a problem with them.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is that also with repairs as well? Like say the buyer is just like, or the seller's like, hey, I'm not doing this. I wouldn't accept this FHA if I thought I had to repaint my house. I'm not doing it. Could the buyer do that?
Yeah,
Repairs?
yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter who does it.
Pre-closing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just on them.
It's as long as the work's done when he comes back to reinspect it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and that's, you know, I see, well, I'm not, you know, I used to be a realtor in the late 90s, early 2000s. I don't know if anybody knew that or not, but.
I knew that, Danny.
So, yeah, I knew you knew that. I've known you like 25 years. Yeah, so, but, you know, sometimes when, you know, there's like an issue in an order, because like, when I get an order, here lately, it's not been as bad, but like, we kind of have the selling agent and the buying agent kind of fighting each other over like a $500 deal or something. And I remember there was a Greenville and it's pushing on time, and I was like, hey, are you gonna let this $500 kill this deal for you? I mean, you know, if you're gonna make 10 grand, what's 500 bucks? You know, would you rather not make, you know? But, you know, so like I said, it doesn't matter who fixes things,
Yeah.
as long as it gets done.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing.
Okay, cool.
So,
Learned that hard way.
yeah.
I had to pay for a basement ceiling, like foundation to be sealed, like $6,000 off my commission because they were gonna let it down. And it was fun.
Listen to the word himself. Is
It's cheaper that way, man.
Yeah. But,
As long as it's done.
now, the other thing about FHA on double wides, they do require a foundation inspection. So that's the other thing. That's automatic. And if you guys have the piece of paper that it's used under the kitchen sink or the master bedroom closet, please keep that. Tell people to keep that. I went in a double wide the other day. They remodeled it. They took the cabinet door off and put it on the sink under the new cabinets. So it was, you know, that's very important. The HUD data plate. Otherwise, how much does it cost to get that done?
It's expensive.
The IBTS or whatever.
It's very expensive,
Yeah.
and the borrower has to pay it up front.
Yeah, it's at
And
least $500 bucks.
Oh, yeah, something like that.
Depending on how quick you need it, and I always hate having to ask for that, because they've already paid for the appraisal, they've already paid for the foundation, and now we need IBTS, you know, it's $1,000.
Yeah, and I've seen more deals die over that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
On manufactured homes. I mean, but that's, you know, if they have it, that's great. HUD tags will work, but, you know, you still have to get the IBPS, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so.
Do y'all have any other questions? I failed to mention that one of the, Al may qualify for that 1% down thing, so that, I shared that with him. He was really excited to hear that. So, now I gotta follow through with that.
Who's Al?
One of Jessica's clients.
Oh, okay.
Well, first thing they say.
I'm not gonna say his last name. It's public domain.
Yeah.
Al, sorry.
Al.
Is that my East Tennessee? Al.
Oh my God,
AL.
I promise I was listening, I didn't hear any of it.
Al, like Al Bundy. Al Bundy.
My buddy,
Al.
Who?
Sorry. Well, thank y'all for having us.
No.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.